Welcome to Myanmar Radio's Myanmar Today. I am Akacho, and here are the today's reports. Some places likely to face heavy rainfall due to remnants of tropical storm. And domestic fuel market finds difficulty in returning to normal. And all of related businesses face drawbacks of passengers' figure drops. Pyin Lwin's travel spot runs only for renovation and security reasons. Before we get to the reports, let's take a look at the featured local news for today. Some 100 nationals stranded in Chinese Taipei due to the suspension of the international flight returned by flight arranged by Myanmar Consulate General Office in Hong Kong yesterday. The relief flight from China Airlines carrying Myanmar nationals landed at the Yangon International Airport yesterday morning. Similarly, 113 stranded Myanmar nationals in the United States and 14 in the Republic of Korea were also repatriated by a relief flight arranged by Myanmar embassies in Washington and Seoul. The relief flight from the Myanmar Airways International carrying 127 Myanmar nationals landed at the Yangon International Airport at 8 p.m. yesterday. The Ministry of Commerce has called for export potential with the Myanmar products to Saudi Arabia's market, the ministry stated. The ministry recently negotiated with the Saudi Arabian ambassador to Myanmar concerning the items identified as the export potential, including honey, fish, prawn, and fishery products. At present, Saudi Arabia has received Myanmar's answers to the queries they sent regarding the new regulations. Supposedly, the cold storages and processing companies are found to be in accordance with the fishery import standards of Saudi Arabia. In that case, Myanmar can resume exports of the fishery products to Saudi Arabia. Yangon's Bansoran Dalat ferry service has reduced the crossing schedule to 30 times in the working days of the government offices from the 12th of September and 24 times during the weekends and public holidays from the 19th of September, owing to the declining number of the ferry commuters with the coronavirus cases mounting in Yangon region. That is according to the Inland Water Transport Delta Division. Following the COVID-19 resurgence in the region, the drop in ferry commuters made the ferry run less frequently. Under the reduced schedule, the Dalat ferry will run between 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. in the weekdays, and it will ply the routes between 5:30 a.m. and 8 p.m. every weekend. And I believe it's time now for our first report. According to the weather forecast announced by the Department of Meteorology and Hydrology on the 16th of September, there will be widespread heavy rainfall in some regions and states of Myanmar brought about by the remnants of the tropical storm Noel. The storm is moving to the west and crossing the Vietnamese coast during the 19th of September to the 22nd of September. Minton, Sueman, Nangli, and Soena have more.
The Department of Meteorology and Hydrology issued a warning that tropical storm Noel is moving to the west and crossing the Vietnamese coast. Some regions and states are likely to face heavy rainfall as a result of the remnants of the tropical storm and the strong monsoon winds developing over the Andaman Sea and the southern part of Bay of Bengal. According to the weather forecast announced by the department on 16 September, that there will be heavy rainfall widespread in Naypyidaw, Magwe, Bago, Yangon, Ayeyarwady and the Nindai regions, southern Shan, Rakhine, Kaya, Kayin and Mon states with the likelihood of regionally heavy falls and isolated heavy falls during 19th of September to 22nd September. During this period, rain are likely to be 3 inches and above in Bago, Yangon, Ayeyarwady and the Nindai regions, southern Shan, Rakhine, Kaya, Kayin and Mon states with 1.5 inches and above in Naypyidaw and Magwe region within 24 hours. Dr. Jomo U, Director General of Meteorology and Hydrology Department said.
The rivers and creeks from the region and states where the flood warning is issued will be flooded due to the effects of the tropical storm. Another warning said landslides are likely to occur on the hill regions. Therefore, local people from those areas must stay carefully. Some places are likely to face heavy rains and strong winds as a result of the tropical storm. Thunderbolts and lightning will be happening during this period.
Along with the global climate changes, Myanmar has also been hit hard by the climate changes, said Dr. Myatonyo, chairman of Tree Planters Group. Dr. Myatonyo, chairman of Tree Planters Group, said,
The weather is not cold even in the cold season, and the rains become chaotic. Sometimes the rain is really heavy, and there are floods even not much rain. During this year, there were many flash floods in the central Myanmar, including Mandalay's collapse or embankment. In the rainy season, the rain is really chaotic. It is continuously rainy in some places where it should not be rained, and some regular places are not getting enough rain. Also in the cold season, it is not so cold, but in the summer, the heat is too strong. Such chaos becomes quite noticeable in our country.
Monsoon winds are beginning to recede from the northern Myanmar now, but the winds usually recede from the first 10 days of October. During the late monsoon season, floods are less common in Myanmar's major rivers, said Dr. Jo Mo-u. Dr. Jo Mo-u, Director General of Meteorology and Hydrology Department, said,
In the middle of the monsoon season, there is a slight delay because there would be the prospect of coming storms and low pressure area. Currently, it is like a tropical cyclone in the South China Sea. In the north and central part, there is a slight delay in the possibility of monsoon departure. In the nationwide, the monsoon usually departs during the first 10 days of October. Mainly, the monsoon was not good early and the middle periods of the rainy season. In the middle part of July, the monsoon was continually very weak. The monsoon was back to be strong again in August due to the low pressure developing over Bay of Bengal. The Ayeyarwady River, Chindrin River, and the related rivers such as Ngawon River, Do River, and Myengae River were flooded. The rest of the rivers in the lower part of the country were not flooded. There was less rain, especially in the early rainy season. The rain condition is good. If the rain is good in early and the middle of the rainy season, there will be floods. But there was less rain in the early rainy season. Moreover, the monsoon was weak in the first month of the mid of the rainy season. So this is the reason of the less rain. When the monsoon gets stronger in September and October, and the cyclone's remnants occurs in the South China Sea, floods are likely to occur in the small rivers and creeks. Mostly when we look back to the events, floods were less common in September and October.
As the monsoon is about to depart, flood is less common in the major rivers. It is more likely to occur in small rivers. The cyclone's remnants are likely to form a low pressure over the Bay of Bengal, and it is a situation to monitor.
That's the news on some places likely to face heavy rainfall due to remnants of the tropical storm. After the government had relaxed the restrictions with regard to COVID-19, the sales in the domestic fuel market recovered in June. However, the resurgence of the outbreak has emerged immediately since the 16th of August in the country. So the fuel importers and traders said there would be difficulty in recovery for the newly revived fuel market, and the local fuel market would find difficulty in returning to normalcy as well. Jyoti Ritu and Hemila have more.
The domestic fuel market, which has been hit by COVID-19, is finding a hard time in returning to normalcy, according to local market insiders. After the government had relaxed the restrictions with regard to COVID-19, the sales in the domestic fuel market rebounded in June this year. However, the resurgence of the outbreak has emerged immediately since 16 August in the country. So some fuel importers and traders said there would be difficulty in recovery for the newly revived fuel market, and the local fuel market would find difficulty in returning to normalcy as well. At the end of 2019, before the pandemic, the fuel prices per liter were 800 jets for octane 92, 870 jets for 95, and 850 jets for premium diesel, and 840 jets for regular diesel, according to the Lwin wholesale price. At present, the prices are dropping to 438 jets for octane 92, 465 jets for 95, and 435 jets for premium diesel, and 425 jets for regular diesel. Myanmar Today, CEO of MK Fuels Distribution, which is operating with more than 100 employees, said.
In the current situation, there are traders who have imported the fuels and oils just before the resurgence of COVID-19, and even now some are still importing to Myanmar. All of these importers lost about 50 jets to 60 jets per liter. If we say in deep insight, 2020 becomes the worst year recorded in the history for fuel market. The fuel prices have increased from the lowest prices since May. In July and August, the prices rebounded and peaked again. It was the rainy season and other construction machineries, roads, bridges, and mines were on temporary suspension with the resurgence of the virus. All highway bus routes are also closed. In coming third week of September, the farmers will be able to harvest paddy in some areas. I think demand will depend on this rising consumption.
Importing fuels in the country requires a contract with a foreign company, and every fuel distribution company has a contract for at least 1 year. According to the shipment, the fuel importing ship will be able to enter regularly. At least 20,000 tons of fuel has to be taken by the company. Myanmar Today reviews that.
According to the current situation, in my opinion, the fuel market won't be rising too much or decreasing too much till the end of the year. Sometimes a country announces about the vaccine. In that case, the price will have a slight impact.
Mainly, the fuel on the market is imported from Singapore, and they are being stored and distributed at the terminals built in Lwin for the past 6 years and 10 years ago. Dr. Lwin, secretary of the Myanmar Petroleum Trade Association, described the situation after the state-owned fuel distribution company was privatized.
It was an important turning point for the fuel industry. At the time, the traders asked for free market economy while privatization. Because of the free market economy, any traders can freely import the fuel, and the competitions have also risen. As a result of the market competition, we can provide the best service to our consumers. The fuel market in our country has always been in line with international prices. If the price goes up abroad, the local price will be also the same matter. If the price goes down abroad, it will be the same locally.
In Myanmar, the fuel industry was started by the Ministry of Energy, and it was privatized for more than 10 years ago. According to the market insiders, there are 80 individuals who are importing the fuel into Myanmar, but it is now countable fuel importers in the market.
That's the news report on the domestic fuel market finding difficulty in returning to normal. The resurgence of the COVID-19 pandemic affected the drawbacks of the related businesses as the numbers of the passengers are dropping. Starting from the mid of September, the passengers are decreasing due to the stay-at-home order, and the related businesses are facing difficulties at the same time. Soidana and Lwin have more.
All of the related businesses are facing drawbacks as the number of passengers is dropping due to COVID-19 pandemic. According to the dealers from the La Township located on the other side of Yangon River, the stay-at-home order has been imposed in most of the townships in Yangon region. COVID-19 committees have issued healthcare guidelines to the respective townships. The number of passengers is remarkably decreasing from the mid of September, and the related businesses are facing difficulties at the same time. Dr. Pyin, manager of inland water transport of the La Township, said.
Here, the passenger rate is dropping down as the resurgence occurs. We are providing services following the instructions of our department. The number of passengers has fallen these days. We are trying to give our best services to the people, although we were facing a fall in our income as we have got no passengers. We have arranged 13 hand wash basins for the passengers in our ticketing stations. We also provide the soap oils for the passengers to wash their hands. We also published the virus protection instructions issued by the Ministry of Health and Sports.
For the time being, there are rarely comers from the townships from the Delta region to Dalat. Most people in Yangon are now staying at home, except the people who have urgent matter to go out. So the business concerning the transport sector are facing with problems. A motorbike carry driver from the Dalat side spoke to MI Radio about the current situations they are facing now. Gopyo Gogo, motorbike carry driver from Dalat Township, said.
ရင်ချိန်နဲ့အခုလက်ရှိဆိုရင်အချိန်တွေကအများကြီးကွာခြားပါတယ်အခုကိုဗစ်ကာလမှာရှာသားမှုကအရန်ခက်ခဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်
To do for a living is difficult in this COVID-19 period. It was easy to earn a living in the past. In the past, we could make at least 10,000 chats per day when we do motorbike carry business. Since the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, our business has not gone well. Now it is quite difficult to get motorbike carry passengers. Most of the works have been closed, and the unemployed are now doing our business. So, we are facing a lot of difficulties. Even with these conditions, we have to work for our living while protecting ourselves. We start working at 6 a.m. and end at 10 p.m., but there are no passengers. We are facing a harder time unlike in the past. Those who have families and children are in troubles. We will try our best, but we would like some help if possible.
The restaurants have to serve the takeaway systems and the sales are dropping. As the dine-in service is restricted, there are no regular customers having tea in the afternoon like before. These restaurants have to come to Yangon and do shopping, but now the sales are dropping and they are desperately trying to get the first customer so they can do shopping only once a week. In connection with these activities, the number of passengers on the ships has significantly decreased, and these conditions are causing difficulties. Umang Manso, sampan driver, said.
အရင်နဲ့ဆိုင်တော့အများကြီးနေသွားတာပေါ့လေ။ဒါဆို3ချိုး2ချိုးလောက်ကိုနေသွားတယ်။ဒီ
I have been driving sampan for over 30 years, and I have never faced that kind of experience before. Now there is no passenger at all. Before this period, I could not take a rest for a while due to the demand of passengers. During this period, I drive my sampan at least once a day for a round trip. It is very difficult to stand and it can't cover our family expenses. The strict restrictions on travel, the closure of the businesses, and the health guidelines are the reasons for fewer passengers.
In spite of facing difficulties affected by COVID-19, the inland water transport is striving for smooth and secure transport in cooperation with the township and district general administration offices of Yangon region government and relevant departments. On the other hand, anti-COVID-19 measures such as banning on crowds and disinfections are being carried out along with the announcement of directives.
That's the news on. All of related businesses face drawbacks as passenger figure drops. Lwin is home to around 250,000 people, and large parts of its economy depend on tourism. The city hosted around 2,000 foreign tourists and 10,000 local visitors per month. Now, local residents and businesses said the number of tourists has dropped to almost zero for over 6 months. Pyo Diritu and Amu has more.
Lwin, also known as Mimyo, a scenic hill town in the Mandalay region, is far some 67 kilometers away from the east of Mandalay city. Lwin, with its cool weather, glittering pagodas, anti-colonial buildings, waterfalls, and gardens with abundance of flowers, is popular among many foreign and domestic tourists. Lwin is home to around 250,000 people, and large parts of its economy depend on tourism. The city hosted around 2,000 foreign tourists and 10,000 local visitors per month. Now, local residents and the businesses said that the number of tourists has dropped to almost zero for over 6 months. Speaking to MI Radio about the closure and renovation of the pagodas in Lwin, Uzo Teko, chairperson of Board of Trustees of Maha and Tukanda Pagoda said.
The pagodas are meant for the public and it is a kind of public place. But since the beginning of COVID-19, the pagodas are not permitted to accept the worshippers. So during these 6 months of closure, we only opened a few days like Waso Full Moon Day for a sermon with some limited number of people with permission. At the time, we only allowed 15 worshippers for one group for worshiping. We also arranged for preventative measures like hand wash basins, hand sanitizers, face mask, and temperature gun. Except from that day, the pagodas here are completely closed for over 6 months already. This year, the Board of Trustees has planned to renovate the ceilings and buildings as some are damaged by the weather. But we met with this pandemic amid the renovation works, so the renovation works for the pagodas are also delayed. But we're trying to offer a gold robe within this month. The worshippers can see and pray the pagoda even from some distance. Food offering to Buddha images, pagodas, maintenance, security, and gardening are being performed as usual under the management of Board of Trustees. We are managing all maintenance works to be ready to reopen as soon as permission is announced.
Pyin Cave, also known as Mahanadamu Cave, is a limestone cave estimated between 230 million and 310 million years old. It is located on 12 miles east of Lwin town and is one of the interest sites for the domestic and international tourists. There are about 800,000 tourists used to visit Pyin Cave every year. Amid the pandemic, Pyin has closed without even a tourist for over 6 months. Uki Manglo, chairperson of Board of Trustees of Mahanadamu Cave, said.
We have
closed the cave since the end of March. It has been over 6 months for now. The city management committee instructed with official letters to close the cave. So, we have closed for long and there is no money donation for the cave. The members of Board of Trustees for the cave are always visiting to the cave for the reason of maintenance and security. As there are no tourists at present, we have implemented the renovation of the cave inside. For the outside of the cave, we are also paving the street and repair the floor continuously since the beginning of the crisis. As the cave has been closed for long, the most important thing is the security role. We have planned for the security of the cave well, and we are preparing our renovation processes for the best.
In Lwin, it is not just the tourism industry suffering the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The real estate firms, the food vendors, and transportation drivers are also the same matter.
That's the news on Lwin's travel spot runs only for renovation and security reasons. Now to international news. TikTok on Saturday confirmed that it has reached a proposal deal with the U.S. companies Oracle and Walmart. The company said in a statement, quote, "We are pleased that the proposal by TikTok, Oracle, and Walmart will resolve the security concerns of the United States administration and settle questions around TikTok's future in the United States," unquote. Oracle will become TikTok's technology provider and is also working with the Walmart on a commercial partnership, the statement said. Meanwhile, both companies, according to the statement, will take part in the pre-IPO financing round for TikTok's new U.S. headquartered company and take up to a 20% cumulative stake in it. Shortly after TikTok confirmed the deal, the United States Department of Commerce announced in order to delay TikTok's U.S. App Store ban by a week until the 27th of September. The order said the decision was taken in light of recent positive developments and at the United States President Donald Trump's direction, the ban will be postponed until 11:59 p.m. of the 27th of September. US President Donald Trump vowed Saturday to nominate a successor, likely a woman, to replace late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg very soon. Ginsburg's death on Friday from cancer after 27 years on the court handed Trump, who is seeking re-election on the 3rd of November, the opportunity to expand his conservative majority to 6-3 at a time of a gaping political divide in America. He told reporters in Washington, quote, "We will have a nominee very soon. Most likely it would be a woman," unquote. Only 2 female justices remain on the court, Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor, both progressives appointed by former President Barack Obama. An envelope addressed to the White House and intercepted by the U.S. authorities contained a substance identified as a ricin, a deadly poison that appeared to have been sent from Canada, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police said on Saturday. An RCMP spokesman confirmed it has received a request for assistance from the FBI in connection with a suspicious letter sent to the White House, quote unquote. The RCMP added that, quote, "The FBI conducted an analysis on the substance found in the envelope. This report indicated the presence of the ricin, a toxic substance," unquote. RCMP said it is working with the FBI but declined to discuss further details. The envelope was intercepted at a government mail center before it arrived at the White House. At Beijing Fashion Week, Chinese designers are infusing their creations with their traditional culture. The art of paper cutting and ink washing paintings have inspired the styles that hit the runway as creators paid homage to imperial fashion and intangible cultural heritage and showed off their craftsmanship.
非物质文化遗产是一个民族它的文明和文化的一个见证。我们用创新的设计，然后展示给更多的人，让全球的人都能够了解我们的中国文化。
我用了中国的明清2代的这种很皇家的元素，建筑以及一些里边的图腾画廊当中的壁画呀，等等等等，来组成了我的设计元素。
That's all with the news and reports on Myanmar Today. I hope everyone is staying safe.